Thank you very much, Arnaud. I'm delighted to be here today at midday. I really think you're all hungry. I suggested that we give Air France meals to everyone, but I didn't hear back from him. And I should have said it was business lunches. But no, seriously, it was a joke. That was a joke, don't worry. Now, I'd like to thank Arnaud for his invitation and also for the presentation from this morning. It was fascinating. And you're probably going to see that there's, well, lots of stuff that refers to this presentation, customer needs, how do we transform ourselves, why do we transform ourselves? And everything I'm going to tell you in the next 20 to 25 minutes is everything's been thought through to improve our team's experience, who saw digital transformation really disrupt what they did and disrupt customer experience. So why is it that we make sure that all our services, all the improvements we do through digital transformation, data, big data, and so on and so forth, why is it so focused on the customer, on customer services to bring better services? Now, here, this is the title of my presentation, Giving Superpowers to Our Staff and Customers Through Personalization. I thought it was in link with what we're talking about today. So we need to improve staff experience, to improve customer experience. Just a few figures. I'm sure you all know Air France. I'm sure you've got the Air France app on your smartphones, don't you? If you don't have it, well, there's a good Wi-Fi connection in the room, so download it ASAP. A few figures. Air France KLM, 600 million passengers per year, 100 million passengers per year, 93 million passengers per year in 100 countries worldwide, 114 countries worldwide. It's a complex product. We send out more than 2,000 flights a day from Paris, Amsterdam, to more than 100 countries. So we've always got a plane up there in the airs. 27 million in the Flying Blue customer program. They're quite active in our planes. We've systematically got 1/3 of our passengers who are Flying Blue customers. They've got loyal customers. As was said this morning, Flying Blue, it's got to do with our Air France app that I'm going to talk about later. Second piece of data. Travel, you dream of travel, but the idea is to connect customers and make people travel, make them discover new horizons, new cultures. Yes, social media mean that you can talk to your parents who are on the other side of the planet, yes. But I do think that what we do is we make people meet in reality and we allow all these people to travel. This being said, even if traveling is pleasure, we're going to discover new stuff, but we do know that traveling is stressful because it's complicated. Because you travel about once a month for every 9 months, and you've got to go to the airport, go through the security checks, be there on time, not miss your plane, and it's stressful. And it can make you worry, and you can have some trepidation too. So all we can do is make sure that our customers have peace of mind, and everything we're going to do is to reduce stress for our customers, to work with our customers, because that's the only way to do things. Final piece of data. We see something for quite a few years. Uberization is something we all know. We've all heard of Ryanair and EasyJet. And a few years ago, EasyJet used to say, have these ads that said steak and chips or a flight to Rome. And actually, there's this sort of balancing movement that you can feel increasingly. Actually, our customers want an experience. They don't want to go from point A to point B. No, they want something that will be with them from the very preparation of their trip, when they're wondering where they're going to go next, to when they go back home. And they want someone who works with them. They want a real experience. And it's actually even truer for younger generations. 70% of millennials prefer experiences over possessions. So, for us, well, our product is quite complex. We have a customer experience that's very complex, and in comparison with normal salespeople who interact with their customers behind a computer screen, but our customer is moving while we're interacting with them. So at one point or the other, so we have an interaction on social media. A few minutes later, they're going to be in touch with our teams in airports, and then a few minutes later, they'll be in contact with our air hostesses and our stewards. So this complexity of their trip must be borne in mind. And for us, the best opportunity around the digital revolution is that it's completely transformed this customer experience. It was broken up in lots of different stages, and it's led to a real continuity, a real customer journey where we are constantly in contact with our customers and transparently so. Second major change, digitalization, personalization, which means that we can create strong moments to give the customers what they need, exactly what they need, and therefore we give them a memorable experience. That means that the customers will come back and they'll fly with us again. As I said, what I'd like to tell you about today is two major aspects: digital transformation, how we transformed our teams, and our relations with you through digital tools. Digital allows us to connect ourselves with all our customers throughout their customer experience. And personalization. Why personalization? Well, when you look at pure players, Netflix, Amazon, they, got into this personalization and they did it head on. And we thought that's an interesting experience. Our competitors talk about personalization. You're not going to see any one of our competitors who's going to say, no, I invest in personalization or big data. Lufthansa, Emirates are all going to say that we're going to invest in personalization. Why? Because for our customers, for you, personalization is a new standard, just like the standards we have on social medias. For our customer relationship has been completely transformed by social media. So these are two examples that I put on the slide up here. These are real examples. Nowadays, when a customer asks something on social media, they're waiting for an answer in just a few minutes. It no longer is, I'm going to send out a letter, I'm going to wait for an answer from the customer service in 2-3 weeks. No, the answer must come back right away. So new standards around reactivity, personalization, all this is the expectations of our customers. As for the digital part, I'll go into more detail on this. Just a quick thing. Why is personalization, beyond being a new standard, why is it so important for our customer? Because personalization means that our customer promise comes to life. Our customer promise is working with our customer from the beginning to the end of their trip. Our customers say they take Air France because they expect a slow range. They don't want bad service. They want to be pampered. They want us to be there for them. If there's a problem, they expect us to give them a solution instead of saying, "I'll just manage. Sorry, you've missed your flight. That's your problem. Tough luck." No, when our customers choose us, and that's what our brand wants to do, is to work with the customer and be as close as possible with them. As for digitalization, well, over the past years, we've tried to digitize most of our contact points. As we said earlier on, a customer can be in contact with 10 people, meet social media, the air hostess, the people who's in a waiting lounge, the people who are in our call centers, and so on and so forth. So we've digitized all these contact points. As for the first aspect I wanted to talk about is digitizing our teams. Every single time we wanted to meet needs that are extremely important in our teams. So this movement started in 2011 with our pilots. We have 4,000 pilots in Air France, and I'm sure you have the image we have in films. Pilots have got their little wheelie case behind them. I'm going to tell you a secret. It didn't have their shirts and their swimsuits in it. No, it was documents for the plane they were going to fly. 20 kilos of documents on an Airbus or Boeing that they were going to fly. So the first thing we did in 2011 is we made all this technical information in a digital format. So nowadays we've rolled out something for our 4,000 pilots, new iPads, which means they have the pilot documentation and they're in constant contact with our central officers to have their flight courses, to improve their flight courses dependent on the weather, direct, and to have all the info. That means that they can now improve the flight course on flight, so as to avoid storms and so on and so forth. So pilots first and foremost, and we also worked with our hostesses and stewards. I don't know if you've traveled with us a few months ago. You've probably noticed very, very long lists, they were miles long, where we had all the customer details. If you were a frequent flyer, elite, and it's a long paper list. You can't put much on a paper list. So we had this need for our hostesses. We wanted to interact with our customers on our flights, and therefore to have info that is as interesting as possible, so as to be able to interact. 11 hours on a plane is a long time. So you've got a lot of time to interact with your customers. And since 2013, therefore, we've rolled out iPads for our cabin managers, and now all our stewards have an iPad with access to customer data. And we're referring to the United situation. We didn't laugh because we know it could happen to anyone. A bad buzz like that can happen to anyone. So nowadays, our teams in our plane are actually capable of, doing something for the customer, compensation because something didn't go well, for example, to give a flight report that is going to be sent to our teams directly, and they'll be able to react immediately to something that happened in the flight. So better interactions, and also give service and new services. If you're not flying blue yet, you want to become a flying blue over the 12 months. We've managed to get 100,000 extra flying blue customers in our loyalty program. And on the ground, well, for 2 years now, we've given all our staff iPads. And again, to look back at what happened in the past, the experience you had with our teams in the airports, it was agents who were behind their counter, behind their computer. They'd be looking up for finding your file, and well, it was always there was always this separation, this desk between you and them. So we wanted to transform the relationship to have a more a closer relationship with our customer. It's what we call a careful relationship to give a customer service with an edge, something that the customer will remember. So we've given iPads to all our teams on the ground. Basically, this summer, we'll have a fleet of 25,000 iPads. That means that we're one of the companies that uses iPads professionally the most worldwide, and we're actually quite happy with what we've done. We've trained our teams to use these new tools, and this idea of a careful relationship to transform our agents' jobs so that they are good in services, they work on helping our customers, that's essential. And I'm sure that most of you have had this experience, or at least that's the feedback we're getting. The service on our planes, in our airport, has really changed, and this digital aspect was essential for it. Our teams have changed, they're digital now. Our customers have also changed, actually. We try and reduce pain points as much as possible, hassle, stressful moments for our customers. And to give you just a couple of examples, you can actually see in the Air France app. First of all, geolocalization. Nowadays, when you're about to take an Air France trip, 2-3 hours before your flight, you're going to have some data in your app. The best way to get to the airport, by public transport or by car, so that you know how to get from where you are right now to your airport. So that lowers stress. Am I going to miss my plane? How long am I going to take to get to the airport? And that means that you avoid something like what happened to a friend recently. My friend went to Orly and not Roissy Airport, because usually that flight left from Orly and there actually it was leaving from Roissy. And well, when they arrived at Orly and realized it was leaving from Roissy, they were 1 hour in changing airports, so that's quite stressful. So you get to the airport, and what we're going to test from this summer on is geolocalization, and we're going to help our customers know where they are in the airport. Roissy Airport is quite large and quite complicated, I don't know if you know it, so customers who are going to flying within Europe and then to China, and well, getting from one connecting flight to the other in Roissy is quite complicated. And so we try and help our customers move around in complex areas. Same thing in our apps. We want to help our customers when there's unexpected events. They do happen.
Obviously, the unexpected can happen, and this is part of our desire in the airline industry. 30% of customers say they have experienced something unexpected, so a delay, or they've lost their luggage, or something like that. So this is quite a high figure. Our aim is, through the Air France app, to be able to develop a better interface with the customer and to keep them up to date about what is going on with notifications. And you know, if the boarding gate is changed, then there will be a little notification or alarm through the app to let you know, to tell you that your plane is departing from a different gate. If, for example, for some reason your suitcase hasn't been loaded onto the appropriate flight, your flight, then you will be able to track your suitcase. And as soon as it has been localized, it is still in Paris or whatever it is, then we can keep customers informed of where their luggage is. If it's been lost, we can keep them informed, inform them, allow them to track certain items, and reduce the stress aspect of travel. It's very interesting also to hear from Facebook's intervention earlier. I would strongly encourage you to download the Air France app, but you know, even so, I do realize that we are a really tiny player compared to Facebook, Amazon, Google, WeChat, and so on. We are nevertheless very pleased to have loyal customers who download our app, because there is added value in our app. Having said that, we are very much aware that, like Arnaud said, for the travelers who only travel with us once a year, it may not be all that useful to have an app which takes up space on your smartphone, even though it has been downloaded 3.5 million times. It may not be the #1 app that people you go to and use all the time. So we also do have a presence across all social platforms, Facebook Messenger, and also on Google Flights. You can actually book your flight directly through Google with Google's own interface. So I encourage you to listen to keep an ear out for our announcements that are going to come out through Facebook Messenger, and for customers who don't really think that they want to download our app yet. You should be aware that there is a level of service and correspondence with us that you can get and obtain that will be optimal through the other networks. There's a real effort that is being done to digitalize our team, to ensure that their customers have a completely fluid digital experience with us. The second subject that I would like to talk a little bit about is, of course, our involvement in the use of big data and unlocking the power of big data. It's obviously important to have digital contact points, but if it is not seamless if there's not seamless contact and seamless continuity between big data and these interfaces, it's not going to be very useful. For example, customers have sometimes been in touch with our social networks team via Twitter, and then a few minutes later, they may be dealing with an air hostess or an air steward that had no idea of what was being discussed on Twitter. So this needs to be rectified. Our attitude to big data is a little different. Some companies feel that they have to use big data and upgrade to this, otherwise they'll get Uberized. But I mean, using big data is just another way of accompanying the customer and improving their experience and allowing us to get to know the customer in order to be able to provide them a more personalized service. With this in mind, what we have been doing for some time is that we have been using big data. As you know, the distribution of the airline industry, there are some planes that have 50 spaces of up to 500, so 2,500 flights a day. As I said, the aim is to optimize the price of each of the seats available on our flights. But if flights leave with empty seats, then obviously this is not good. So we're very much focused on pricing, and this is one of the first experiments that we carried out with big data in 2011. The technologies at the time were not able to handle the mass of data that we needed to manage, and so we developed expertise internally with our IT and data scientists, and now we are able to provide a service to our customers. We have this ambition of being #1 in customer intimacy, the #1 airline in customer intimacy. What this means is that we want to be the airline that offers the most personalized service, the most personalized interactions with all of our customers. What this means is being able to recognizing our customers, be they Flying Blue members or not, knowing who they are, what they like, and being able to interact with them through all of the tools that I have mentioned. In order to do this, we created a department 2 years ago that is devoted to the management of customer data, and I head up this department. 2 main missions, technological ones, creating a big data platform that is going to centralize all user experiences your booking method, your flying blue status, whether you like to have an aisle seat or a window seat, whether you prefer to have a vegetarian meal, or if you like sunny destinations, or if you always leave during the first week of December, for example. Centralizing this data means that we can then redistribute it to all of the other areas of the group, the professional areas, so personalization. It allows us to personalize all of these other services. They have a particular appetite for certain types of products, or this would be useful it would be good to offer this particular service to a given customer. And in the digital tools that our teams have, they will be made aware that this particular customer is crazy about Bordeaux. Maybe there is an air steward that knows a lot about wine and maybe can offer you one of the wines that you particularly like during the flight. That is the kind of personalization I'm talking about, enabling our teams to have better, higher quality interactions with the customers and to avoid completely stereotyped services and to really listen to what our clients want. So we want to be able to better manage the data, ensure that we get better quality data, absolutely adhering and to respecting the privacy rules, right to privacy, and the private lives of our customers. All of our services are intended to provide greater comfort for our customers, and we think that our use of customer data must be done in an ethical way, but we also want to communicate about the fact that customer data is stored in servers in France. We do cross data, but we use it in a careful way. We're very careful about the uses that we make of this customer data. And I would just like to conclude with a little example about personalization and the use of big data, how it can be applied. This example comes from recommending destinations. This is an algorithm that we designed basically based on the analysis of your travel history, your trip history, what people like you have done. At the moment, we are actually completely inundated with by emails. We send out 500 emails, and it's a lot of emails to send you your boarding cards, sales promotion, marketing, and so on. So this example of the destination recommender is really quite striking because we will send you a newsletter that suits your needs, that destinations that match your profile, rather than the 5 destinations that everybody might be interested in. So rather than Tokyo and Shanghai, we may send you something that is more relevant, unless of course you're a fan of the Far East. So we can use, we're looking at comparing, doing beta testing, and we have found that we have a 30% conversion rate with these personalized publicity campaigns and marketing campaigns. So it really is effective. So there you have it. If I can just sum up, social media, apps, all of the actions that we go about to be where our clients are, where our customers are. We know that this business is being transformed, is changing, and that we know that customers have these expectations of us. So we have to personalize because this is what customers want. This really chimes with what Arnaud is saying. Yes, we're going to adopt new technologies, we're going to digitalize, we're going to apply big data. But having said this, we know that our greatest asset are our teams. And if they're able to use all of these tools, big data and digital tools effectively, that will give us a real asset. Thank you so much.
Merci beaucoup.
Yes, thank you very much. That was fascinating. Who will ask the first question then? Any questions here? I think they may be a bit hungry. There's beta testing as well. Yes, the question over there. So the microphone doesn't seem to be working. The interpreter apologizes. The microphone is not being used for the question. Where is Air France at the moment in relation to travel for customers? I mean, there are some companies that are developing ideas around this. So not just in relation to our airline competitors, but around other travel services. Again, with using travel price comparison websites and so on. The interpreter apologizes. Part of the question was not asked into the microphone. We know that we have very fierce competition from airlines, our competitors, our rival airlines. Their prices in general are often lower than ours, and they offer taking you anywhere in Europe. We know that we have a lot of strong competition in the digital world. There are price comparison websites, Google and other search engines that are looking at entering into the travel industry. What we want to do is to create a memorable experience for travelers and for customers so that people, when you talk about your travel experiences, you relate to Air France. On social networks, I often say that, well, the example that I gave you earlier about, or I like Bordeaux, and one of your air stewards came to talk to me about wine for 20 minutes, all the different types of wine that are on offer. And this, I think, really makes us stand out. And this will give customers a reason to think about Air France for their next trip. So creating experience, this added value that we create throughout the entire journey, I think this is really what is going to make us stand out and set us apart from our competitors. So we really look at the experience, the complete experience from end to end, door to door. We can look at creating virtual reality experiences as well. If you want to go to Rio, look at what this is, how it would be if you went to Rio. So we really want to look at adding additional services that you wouldn't get with a competitor, with a rival airline. And I think this is what is giving us the edge at the moment. So I'm not sure if I've really answered your question, but I hope so. The interpreter apologizes. Microphone was not used. At the moment, we have competitors like Airbnb who say, yes, we're not going to give you just somewhere to stay, but we can provide the transport, all of the experiences that come alongside it. We are starting to get into that by providing travel guides. So, for example, if you're going to Rio, these are interesting sites to see. So we have travel teams that try to add to your trip experience so that we're not just providing transport from A to B, but rather providing an entire experience. But, our core industry is still the experience at the airport, on the plane. We're trying to extend this as far as we can. But that's where we are on that. Yes, this morning we heard about artificial intelligence. Can you tell us what your approach is to AI, this technology, and what your future plans are in terms of artificial intelligence? Yeah, we have thought long and hard about AI, about bots. And here, once again, I would ask you to keep an eye out for our announcements at the AirTech 2017 later on in the year. I think there are a number of things that can be resolved through bots and through AI. For example, luggage. Luggage is one of these areas. We have lots of questions to the call centers about luggage. Can I buy additional luggage? How many items of luggage am I allowed? What is the maximum weight, and so on. So there are some things like this where bots and artificial intelligence can provide answers relatively easily. We have launched a working group to look at this specific area because this is a key subject for many companies. This really is something that people are very alert to at the moment, so obviously we are paying attention to it. Yes, another question. Can you hear me? Yes, hello. I have a question about your organization, this creation of this service, this data management department. I want to know how big it is and what are the profiles that you're looking for. Do you only recruit data scientists? Is it more mathematical, or do you need people who have real knowledge and real experience in this sector? Well, my teams are experts in the field. In Air France, we are very lucky in the sense that we have a very strong team that is very much specialized in big data. We decided to keep all of our data scientists in the IT center, and we made it possible for them to cover all subject areas. There are some data scientists that are specialized in a specific area, but they still remain attached to the IT department. Our teams are experts and interact with the different businesses, and we'll be there to give them keys to unlock certain types of technology. So they say, in a few years' time, what we want to do is to have all of the information, what you were thinking about doing in the future, to have all of this information about the customers is now possible. So we're very much focused on using and getting as much as we can from the new technologies. In digitalization, for example, we'll say we have a recommendation engine that can use this algorithm that can calculate your appetite for a specific product, and calculates that, for example, there is a high probability that you will buy an additional piece of luggage or a more comfortable seat on a given flight, and so it will be useful for us to offer it to you because there's a high probability that you'll like it. All of this needs to be better known. In order to be used, it needs to be managed by the different units to see what they're going to do with all of this data and all of this different technology. So that really, I think, is the mission of the department that I run, to provide this answer. I have about a dozen people on the business side. On the technical side, I have about a dozen people doing that as well in IT that develop these big data IT platforms and that work on the subject matter. And also we have a number of dedicated IT scientists. So it's a very small team that responds to customer needs, that is spreading the gospel, as it were, and trying to resolve the different business issues that we're confronting or have been confronting for some time, and finally able to resolve using big data. Yes, I have another question. You mentioned the use of Facebook Messenger. Do you think that this is going to revolutionize the relationship with your customer? Do you think that any type of contact is going to be possible? Is it going to be 24 hours a day, anywhere in the world? Have you thought about using a group like us to accompany you in this? Well, we can exchange business cards later on. Absolutely. We are not newcomers in this area of customer relations through social networks. We already have teams that are working, that work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week in all over the world. And obviously our customers are not only in France or only French. So of course they're in a range of different activities. We need to be able to respond to them. We use WeChat, we use Twitter, WhatsApp, all of these platforms to communicate with our customers. And we've just opened a Facebook Messenger channel. It's a new channel But essentially, I mean, our teams are already trained in this. These are dedicated teams to social networks communications, and they respond to all of these channels only, and they are part of our call center teams. And they're obviously trained in managing relationships on social networks. And we've heard about some of the challenges there, but I'd be delighted to give you the contact details of the person who is responsible for that. We have a certain degree of expertise at Air France and KLM, and I think this is widely recognized. We have a reputation. We're often mentioned as one of the companies that is best able to manage social networks and respond to customers very, very quickly through social networks. So we're actually quite proud of that. Facebook is obviously the next step in that, and we haven't been there yet, but we are investing. We'll continue to invest in this in the future. Thank you very much. I think a round of applause is in order, yes.
On est
Yes, I think we're roughly according